Welcome to today's meeting. Kindly watch this instruction video on how to use the Lumi platform with Zoom integration. Once logged into the platform, you will automatically be logged into a Zoom meeting. Be sure to allow your browser access to your microphone as well as your camera. Make sure that the correct microphone and correct camera is being used for the meeting by clicking on the caret on each icon and selecting the correct device. Once you have made all relevant selections, click on the Join Meeting button. Let's first familiarize ourselves with the Zoom platform. You will be muted upon entry to the meeting. You can enable your camera if you so choose. Please note that not all functionalities of Zoom will be made available to you during the meeting. If you wish to ask a verbal or video question at the relevant time in the meeting, you can click on the Raise Hand icon. If the Raise Hand icon is not immediately visible in the Zoom toolbar, then click on More, and then on Raise Hand. Please wait until called upon by the chairperson or facilitator, at which point the host will send you a request to unmute yourself. To chat to participants during the meeting, you can use the Zoom chat functionality which can be found in the Zoom toolbar. You can send a chat message to everyone, or send a private chat to a specific participant. Please note that the chat functionality is not monitored and is separate to the Q&A messaging functionality, which will be introduced in this video next. To ask a written question, you can navigate to the Q&A messaging tab that can be found either on the top left or bottom of your Lumi platform screen. Type your message in the Ask a Question box, and once your message is formulated, click on the Send icon to send the message. Only the Q&A messaging functionality will be monitored for relevant questions during the Q&A portion of the meeting. When voting opens, all resolutions will be displayed like an electronic ballot. Click on the choice you wish to make for each of the resolutions open for voting. There is no Submit button. You will see a vote confirmation message once your choice has been made. It is an open ballot. The last choice made when voting closes is the choice that will be captured. You can find any relevant meeting documents in the Documents tab on the Lumi platform. Documents can be viewed directly in the platform while the meeting is in progress, as well as being downloadable as well. To view any relevant speaker biographies, go to the Speakers tab in the Lumi platform. Further information on how to use the platform can be found on the Home tab of the Lumi platform. You can view the meeting in full screen mode by clicking on the full screen icon in the top right-hand corner of the Zoom window. You can also adjust the size of the viewing screen by dragging the sizer button as seen here. Thank you for your participation in today's meeting.
Someone's turning 130 today and they're on the roads.
Commitment is not just brewing beer. It's brewing moments that matter. Stepping up when the nation calls. And bringing people together for 130 years in the country we love. South African breweries, forever committed to a future with more cheers.
South Africa, be sharp, not for persons under the age of 18.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hartwell Chuma from William Radcliffe. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the reconvened annual general meeting of the shareholders of Sab Zenzele Kabili Holdings Limited. As you are aware, the annual general meeting commenced on 15 May 2026 and was subsequently adjourned. We thank our shareholders for all their patience and understanding and welcome you to the reconvened meeting, which is being held entirely by electronic means. The meeting will be chaired by the board chairman, Mr. Mos Mwasheng, directors Ernest Kwinda, Tumi Dlamini, and William Mukhase, who are also in attendance today. We also have representatives of the Company Secretary, William Ratcliffe, the auditors, PwC, the administrator, JSE Investor Services, and the transfer secretaries, Computershare, who are also in attendance. I would now like to invite the chairperson, Mr. Mos Mwasheng, to bring the formal meeting to order and commence with the annual general meeting. Over to you, Chair.
Thanks, Adwal. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all shareholders of Sab Zenzele Kabili Holdings Limited. We are pleased to reconvene the 5th annual general meeting of the company, which commenced on the 15th of May 2026, was subsequently adjourned. Thank you for your patience, understanding, and continued participation in the proceedings of the meeting. Following the adjournment of the meeting, the board resolved that the reconvened annual general meeting would be held entirely by electronic means. Shareholders are therefore participating remotely via the electronic meeting platform, which enables them to attend, participate, speak, and vote during the proceedings in accordance with the Companies Act 71 of 2008, the JSE listing requirements, and the company's Memorandum of Incorporation. The company has retained the services of Lumi Global to remotely host the AGM on an interactive electronic platform and to allocate the votes of those attending online via electronic means, and will provide the results of voting on the resolutions put to the meeting. Computershare, who are the company's transfer secretaries, are appointed to act as scrutineers. Please take note that in terms of Section 63 of the Companies Act, only persons who have been reasonably verified have the right to participate in and vote at this meeting. This extends to persons who are in a position of a valid proxy form, which has been filled in accordance with the notice of AGM, and shareholders who are reflected on the register as at the record date for this meeting being 22 May 2026, or who are in possession of a written letter of representation from their broker. Before we begin with the formalities of the meeting, I'll take you through some essential guidelines for the meeting. As the reconvened AGM is being conducted entirely by electronic means, all shareholders participating today have registered to attend electronically and should have received the necessary login credentials and access details from the Lumi Global platform. Shareholders may cast their votes electronically at any time while the relevant resolutions are being considered during the course of the meeting. Shareholders will also be afforded an opportunity to raise questions during the meeting. Questions may be submitted using the messaging facility or the raise hand function available on the electronic meeting platform, following which participants will be recognized by the chairperson or meeting facilitator. To ensure the orderly conduct of the meeting, shareholders are requested to confine their questions to the business of the meeting and the resolutions under consideration. I'll begin by asking the Company Secretary to confirm that there are at least 3 shareholders present in person or by proxy who are entitled to vote, and that not less than 25% of the total votes of all shareholders entitled to vote are present in person, by proxy, or represented. Company Secretary?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can confirm that there are at least 3 shareholders present and more than 25% of the total votes of all shareholders entitled to vote are present in person, by proxy, or represented.
Thank you very much. Accordingly, I declare that a quorum is present. I therefore declare the meeting duly constituted. Let me just take you through the voting procedures. In accordance with the company's OMI, resolutions put to the meeting will be voted on by way of poll. The resolutions will be displayed on the screen for your ease of reference. Shareholders will be given the opportunity to ask questions relating to the resolutions, which will be answered after the resolution has been presented. The results of all resolutions will be announced via SMS and via SENS within 24 hours of the close of the meeting. Shareholders are reminded to direct any questions that do not pertain to the specific matters of the AGM to JSE Investor Services or Computershare after the meeting. I now refer you to the notice of the annual general meeting and ask that we take the notice of the meeting as read. Are there any questions? Thank you very much. We shall now proceed with the business of the meeting. The company's audited financial information for the year ended 31st December 2025 has been made available online to shareholders in the annual report. The annual financial statements, together with the following reports, were also made available: Director's Report, Report of the External Auditors, the reports of the Audit Committee and Social and Ethics Committee. The chairpersons and shareholders of the respective board committees are also present at this meeting today. In addition, the designated auditor, PwC, as was indicated in the introduction, are also available to respond to any questions relevant to the audit and financial statement. I now would like to invite William Karoe of William Ratcliffe to provide a brief summary of the financial position of the company as at 31st December 2025. William?
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon to the board and all shareholders present at this meeting. As the chairman has said, I will be presenting the financial highlights of the financial statements for the year ending December 2025. And just to remind the shareholders, the detailed annual report is on the Sab Zenzele Kabili website. So if you want any further details of what I'll be presenting, the detail is contained in the full annual report, which is on the Sab Zenzele Kabili website. For the purposes of the AGM, I will be focusing mainly on the 2025 column, as this is the year that we are deliberating on. So first up, we've got the statement of profit and loss for the year ended 31st of December. So Sab Zenzele Kabili received a dividend income of 123 million rand, and there was also a fair value gain in the 2025 financial year of 676 million rand. That fair value gain is the increase in the value of the AB InBev shares. Just to elaborate a bit on this, Sab Zenzele Kabili holds 5.1 million AB InBev shares. So what happened in the year up to December 2025 is that the value increased. And the increase in value is what we are recognizing in the income statement of 676 million. Just an important point to highlight is that this is not cash. This is just an increase in the value of the shares. So the shares of the AB InBev shares increased by 676 million rand. Kabili, as an operating company, had to incur expenses for the full year, and the total amount of these expenses equated to 7.7 million rand. I will take you through the detail of the 7.7 million rand just to appraise the shareholders on what that money was spent on. So if you take all those amounts into consideration, we are showing an operating profit of 792 million rand. Once again, important to highlight, this is not cash, because the biggest contributor to that is the 676 million rand increase in the fair value of the AB InBev shares rather. Then finance income of 2.7 million rand. What is this? This is interest that was received on the cash that Kabili has. So what Kabili does is all excess cash that it has at any point in time is invested in a call account so that we can maximize the income of Zenzele Kabili. So during the year in question, about 2.7 million rand was generated as interest. income. And then we have finance cost of 366 million rand, which is negative, i.e. it's an expense, but not necessarily paid. So that amounted to 366 million rand. And what that is the interest that accrued on the preference share liability, mainly on the preference share liability, which I will talk to in the balance sheet. So if you take those numbers into account, we're still showing a profit of 428 million rand before tax. And then we're showing 25 million rand worth of tax. And then if you deduct that 25 million rand of tax for the year from the 428 million rand, you are sitting with just under 403 million rand. Just an important point to make is that there is a column there that says notes on those financial statements. The reason why I'm highlighting there, this is just a reference. So if you want details on the dividends, for instance, you can go to note 10 of the annual report of the financial statements that are contained in the annual report. So what those numbers are on the sides is just to assist the users or the readers of the financial statements as to where to go to actually obtain more details. So for instance, on the 676 million, if you want to know the details and how that amount was arrived at, you can go into the Zenzele Kabili website. On the annual report, you go to note 14, it will tell you exactly how that amount was arrived at. So that summarizes the income statement. You can move to the next slide, please. On the previous slide, we spoke about there was 7.7 million rand that I said was spent as operating expenses for the year. So this is the detail. Once again, I'm only going to focus on 2025 column. The 7.720 million is what was spent. And the breakdown is the director's remuneration of 1.1 million. And once again, you can refer to the notes 12 to obtain details on that. And just to emphasize on that is that this is for all the directors, and some of the directors of Kabili actually don't even receive remuneration for the services that they provide to Kabili. And then administration fees. This is fees that are incurred to administer Kabili, and for instance, JSE Investor Services, they manage the call center, etc. They manage share registers, etc. So that's what that cost was. Auditor's remuneration, that is self-explanatory. 594,000 rand was spent, and this is for 2 audits. Kabili gets audited twice a year as a listed entity. So there's an audit that's done to audit the half-year numbers that happens around about now, because for June, and then you have another audit at the end of the year. So that's what that cost was for. Computer share, some of you shareholders may relate to this expense because Computer Share manages the share register of some of the shareholders, and that amount was 517,000. Sponsor fees of 340,000 rand. What are these for? Kabili is a listed entity on the stock exchange. There's laws and regulations that need to be abided by to ensure that Kabili is compliant. So this requires specialized services. So all listed entities are required to have a JSE sponsor. And the purpose of having a JSE sponsor, as I said, is to make sure that they check and make sure that we are compliant. So that's what the services that they assist Kabili with. So it was 340,000 rand for that. Professional fees, this includes financial management, company secretarial fees, tax services, etc. That was 1.4 million rand. And lastly, we have other costs, which include costs of, for instance, running the AGMs, any legal fees that are required, etc., etc. So once again, the total costs incurred, operational costs for Kabili, came to 7.7 million rand. We can move to the next slide. The next slide is a summary of the statement of financial position. And on this slide, we're talking about the balance sheet side. So this is basically the assets. So Kabili, as at the end of December 2025, had total assets of 5.5 billion. In the main, the assets are made up of the AB InBev shares, the 5.1 million shares that were held by AB InBev rather. And once again, you'll see there's reference to notes in the financial statements. So if you want to see the detail of those shares, how many shares, what the value of those shares were as at the end of December, please go to the annual report. In the annual report financial statement section, you'll find, and you go to note 2, you'll see the detailed breakdown of what makes up that 5.4 billion shares. Then the other current assets are 54 million rand, which was mainly cash. And if you add the 5.4 billion of the value of the AB InBev shares to the current assets, you're sitting at the 5.5 billion, which is the total of the assets that Kabili had as at the end of December 2025. We can move to the next slide, please. You'll recall on the assets, we had 5.5 billion, and now the other side of the balance sheet is equity and liabilities, which also comes to 5.5 billion. So this is the detailed breakdown. So you've got equity, which is 1.5 billion rand rather, and then you've got non-current liabilities and current liabilities, which make up the difference. You'll see, once again, there's reference to the notes. So I'll keep laboring the point that if you want the details, you are more than welcome to go to the financial statement. So you'll see on the preference shares, they are referred to note 6. So if you look at note 6, there's about 3 billion rand there, which is 2.983 billion. And further below, you'll see there's also under the current liabilities, a reference to note 6. Which is about 982 million rand. So the reason I'm highlighting this is that the preference share liability total as at the end of December 2025 was just shy of 4 billion rand. That's the liability / preference shares as at the end of December 2025. So once again, the details of this are contained in note 6 of the financial statements. The reason why this amount is split is purely for financial reporting purposes. That's why I'm highlighting that you need to look at those two numbers together to get an understanding of what the value of the liability as at the end of December 2025 was. And then there's a small amount of 12.8 million rand. That's just deferred tax. The reason why we've got deferred tax is purely because this is just to account for taxes on the increase in value of the AB InBev shares rather. So the total non-current liabilities is 2.9, let's call it 3 billion rand. And then the total current liabilities is just under 1 billion rand, which is 991 million rand. And then if you add the equity plus of 1.5 million rand plus the 2.9, call it 3 billion rand non-current liabilities, and let's call the current liabilities also 1 billion rand, you get to the 5.5 billion. So just to recap, your equity and liabilities are 5.5 billion rand, which also equals to the other side of the balance sheet, which is the assets, which is also 5.5 billion rand. Thanks. I think that's, we can move to the next slide. So basically, that summarizes, that's a detailed summary of the financial statements for up to the year ending 2025. And if I may, through you, Chair, is just to appraise the shareholders on where we are in terms of the process of the dividend. What's not included in here, but is included in the annual report and is also public knowledge, is the fact that Kabili has received a dividend, I think it was May or June, from AB InBev. So what normally follows is that the board then deliberates, the Kabili board then deliberates, and then declares a dividend. So that process is currently, I can confirm that process is currently underway through you, Chair. And maybe just to outline the process, as we've always done in the past, is that Sab Zenzele Kabili receives a dividend from AB InBev that's linked to the 5.1 million shares. And maybe if I, at the top of my head, maybe just use an illustrative example, Chair.
Go ahead.
If, for instance, Kabili received let's say 110 million rand in dividends in June this year. This is an example. Very important to know. This is an example. This is not the actual numbers. Just so people don't raise, I don't raise any expectations. So if, for instance, Kabili received 110 million rand as a dividend from AB InBev, what will then happen is that Kabili has a budget, let's say it's 10 million rand to fund the operating expenses. From that 110 million rand, we will deduct 10 million rand, and then there will be 100 million rand left in the kitty. And then of that 100 million rand that's left over, 75%, which equates to 75 million rand, will then go towards servicing the preference share liability that I've been talking about. And then the 25 million rand will then be used to pay a dividend. So once again, if there's 100 million rand left, 75 million rand will go towards servicing the debt, and then 25 million rand will then go towards paying a dividend. And then if you take the 25 million rand for illustrative purposes once again, and you divide it by, Kabili has about 40 million shares that have been issued. So if you take 25 million rand and you divide it by 40 million shares, you're sitting with about 60 cents per share, roughly, per share. And then normally there's tax of 20% on that, which is about 12 cents. And then you will be left with about 48 cents per share. I just thought, Chair, it's very important for me to highlight the process as to how it works. And lastly, Chair, is that this is not entirely, I will actually say this, it's actually not at the board's discretion per se. This is dictated, the process that I've actually outlined now is dictated to the board by the prospectus of Sab Zenzele Kabili, which is in loose terms the constitution, or what other people will refer to as the Bible. So there is not, the board cannot basically say, because there's 100 million rand in the kitty, then 50% must be paid towards the debt and 50% must be paid towards a dividend. It's cast in stone that that's how the money should be split. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, William. Are there any questions on the 2025 annual report and financial statement? If there are no questions, we'll now move on to the report on the matters within the Social and Ethics Committee mandate, which was included in the company's 2025 annual report. Are there any questions that shareholders may wish to raise for the Social and Ethics Committee report? If there are no questions, I now move to the voting of the ordinary and special resolution as set out in the notice of the meeting. Shareholders who are registered online and proxies were able to cast their votes on the online voting platform prior to the meeting. Where a proxy vote has been given to the chairman without voting instructions, I have voted in favor of each of the resolutions. I'll now table all the resolutions to be voted on as outlined in the notice of the meeting. For those shareholders who have not already cast their votes, you'll need to vote via the online platform. If you have previously voted online prior to the meeting, you can amend your votes if you so wish.
Sorry, Chair. There are two hands that are up at the moment. One from Kanyisile and the other.
Let's take Kanyisile.
Kanyisile, you are unmuted. You may speak. Kanyisile, you may unmute yourself and speak.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you, ma'am.
We're fine, thank you.
I wanted to find out, remember the last meeting that we had, you guys had mentioned that a payout will be made of the dividends for the shares now that they're maturing, I think it's 5 years or 10 years. So has the payout been made, one? Secondly, the people that had their accounts with Postbank at the post office, what is a way of moving forward in terms of moving their accounts from the Postbank accounts to a normal bank? Like, what is the process?
William or anyone?
Thank you, Chair. I'll answer some of the questions and anybody can add on. Just starting with the post-bank issue through you, Chair. I think you did outline that this is probably more of an administrative question as to my understanding. Can you confirm how, if you've changed bank details, etc. I will answer it for now, but maybe going forward, just to appraise the shareholders that what needs to happen is that you need to notify the administrator, which is probably JSE Investor Services in this instance, and then contact the call center, and they'll be able to provide you with how to go about providing details or direction as to how you're going to update your bank details, so that whenever you receive a dividend or whatever is due to you, they can make them payments into the correct or new bank account. With regards to payouts, in the 5-year period, there is no maybe there's no real the Kabili has got an indefinite period, if I may put it that way. There is no timeline that is set aside, so there is no 5-year period. So what happens with the shares that shareholders currently hold is that the only way you actually you'll get a payout is if you actually physically sell your share on the stock exchange. So there is no 5-year period or payout that's going to be received at the end of the 5-year period. What you receive when you hold the share is dividends, which I think I've outlined the process. So there have been dividends that have been paid since Kabili's inception, and we actually were looking to, the board is currently deliberating on the dividends to be paid and it will be paid for the 2026 year. However, there is no 5-year period that is set, and there is no payout that's linked to a period of 5 years. Chair, I don't know back to you if there's any board members who would like to add to what I've said. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, William. I think that what we will say, the matters that relate to the scheme and other general matters as to the business can be asked through the website or through the contact center. I would like us to limit ourselves to the matters of the AGM in this meeting. Any other general questions and matters that relate to the company could be dealt with outside of this formal constitutional meeting that we're having today. I would like then to move to the resolutions. I would like to propose resolution 1.1, which is the re-election of some of the directors. Ordinary resolution. Yes.
We've got a couple of other hands, so I don't know if we need to deal with those hands at this point.
Okay, let's deal with the hands, but we're only going to respond to questions that relate to the AGM. But let's deal with those hands.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have Ndita Nkosi. Can we allow them to speak?
Yes.
Ndita Nkosi, you may unmute yourself and speak.
Hello, people. I just want to find out, because I'm not sure whether I heard correctly, that we did receive a dividend from InBev, and it says it was not disclosed. When will it be disclosed? And the other follow-up question is, though I'm not sure, how long are we going to be on a PE status? How many years is still left for us to be on that PE status? Thank you.
Let's take the next question. Let's take a couple of questions, and then we'll deal with them in one go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have Mrs. Malichisa Carroll. You may speak, Malichisa Carroll.
Good morning, everybody. My question is with regard to the dividends, and I don't know if I'll be crossing the line, since it was said that the general questions must be dealt not at this stage, but this is the only platform that we get for us to be able to ask questions. My question is, when can we expect the dividends to be paid? I heard that they are under process, but I just need an estimation as to when, around what time, because I believe the dividends were paid and the financials were actually done in December 2025, and we are now in June. So I just need an estimation as to how long is it going to take, even if it's not the exact date, but just an estimation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question.
We have Yvonne Nombulela. Yvonne, you may speak. Yvonne? Yvonne Nombulelo? I think we have technical issues with Yvonne Nombulelo. We have Mrs. Fezile Swarboy. Mrs. Fezile Swarboy, you may speak.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, colleagues. Just one question. Are we still allowed to can buy more share if you want? Thank you very much.
Chairperson, we have just last hand from Yvonne. Yvonne, you may speak. Yvonne? Yvonne Nombulelo, you may speak. I think there is technical issues from Yvonne. There are no further hands, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
And we deal with those questions. William, you just want to do the estimation of the on the dividend?
Through you, Chair. Thanks. I will. Yeah, I will give it a shot. I'll answer the question, and then if there's anything I've missed, I can hand back to you, Chair. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Yes, in terms of the dividend from DIDA, those two questions that are captured from DIDA, it was around the dividend and the BEE status. I will tackle the amount of the dividend. For now, what I can share is that you remember that Kabili owns 5.1 million shares in AB InBev, and AB InBev declared €1 per share. So the dividend received will be basically 5.1 million euros. And then there's exchange rate issues, which I don't want to get into detail, but yeah, it was 5.1. I mean, a euro is about 19 rand each. So that's the dividend. So the dividend declared by AB InBev that accrued to Kabili was 5.1 million euros. And then in terms of the BEE status, Kabili, to my knowledge, remains as a BEE entity. It's listed on the BEE segment of the stock exchange. I don't think, to my knowledge, that status is going to be changed. And that the purpose of Kabili is it's a BEE entity, hence it's going to remain as a BEE entity. So there's no change anticipated in terms of the status. And then questions from Carol. I think Carol wants to know when exactly the dividend is going to be paid. I cannot give a date, Carol, but I think the board, maybe the chair, can comment on this. However, all I can say is that it's imminent, and I'll skip that one. And just to note the comment you made, Carol, in terms of the AFS being done as at the end of December. The year end is December, 31st of December, but you'll appreciate the fact that it takes time. So these financial statements were probably signed off end of March, if my memory, around the end of March, because it takes time to compile the financial statements and get them audited, etc. So it's not that we were sitting with financial statements from the end of December. And very important to note as well is that the dividend that we're talking about now that's going to be paid will have only, in my presentation, I did highlight that we will have only received that in May or June, somewhere around there. So that's why the deliberations are only happening now. We did not receive the dividend in December, and then the board sat with it up until today. So the dividend was actually received in May, June. I don't know. I don't have the exact date, and then that's why the deliberations are only happening now. And the board and the chair maybe might add as to an estimated timeline. And then And then
Go
from
ahead.
Zenzele, there was a question around if shareholders want to acquire more shares. Yes, the answer is yes. Kabili is a listed shares. So if you have a broker account, you can actually go and acquire more shares. There's entities like Easy Equities, etc., whom you can approach and acquire more shares. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Just to say to shareholders, the board is currently deliberating the dividend that needs to be paid, and we hope to be finished by the end of this week. And we'll communicate via SMS and send announcement as to the amount of the dividend that will be paid to the shareholders. Are there any other further questions?
We have two hands from Simpiwe Mabele and Blue Falcon. Can we allow them to speak, Mr. Chair, through you?
Yes, go ahead.
Simpiwe Mabele, you may please unmute yourself and speak into the meeting. Simpiwe Mabele. Simpiwe Mabele. I think we have taken. Oh, Simpiwe Mabele, you may speak. Simpiwe Mabele. I think there is technical issues from Simpiwe Mabele. We'll go to Blue Falcon Trading, 33 Trading.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity. I didn't have the opportunity to peruse the financials. That being the case, I just want to get an indication of the three largest expenses. I hear that there are expenses that we're incurring. What are the three largest expenses? And in terms of profitability, are we improving or not? And is there any means to reduce the expenses? Thank you.
Okay, we have just two more hands. Nonkululelo, Patricia, you might unmuted, you may speak.
Morning to everyone. What I'd like to ask is, will we ever get a decent amount on our dividends? Since the scheme is ongoing, it's not a 5-year scheme.
Okay, Mr. Chair, we'll check the last hand that was raised is from Simpiwe Mabele. I think they had technical issues. They still have their hand raised. Simpiwe Mabele, you are asked to unmute. Simpiwe Mabele. Chairperson, it looks like they
let's move on. Let's answer the questions that have been asked.
Yeah, should I?
Yes, William.
Thank you, Chair.
I think before you answer, the dividend that we pay to shareholders is completely dependent on the dividend that we receive from AB InBev. If we receive nothing from AB InBev, we're going to declare nothing. If we receive whatever we receive, we're going to use 75% of what we receive to pay the debt that we have and 25% to distribute to shareholders. So that dividend is not determined by us. It's determined by the dividend that AB InBev pays. William?
Thank you, Chair. You've handled the question around the dividends and the decency of And then I think this was from Blue Falcon. The main expenses, I will just go back to my presentation and forgive me if I'm repeating myself, is that the main expenses, okay, thanks. And the previous slide. There we go. So these are the main expenses. The operating expenses, once again, for Kabili was 7.7 million rand. And there you have them there. So you asked for the top three. So the main one was administrating expenses. And I did highlight that that's more for the administration of Kabili and all matters relating to the shareholders. For instance, the call center, etc. That's where those costs sit. JSE Investor Services are included in there. So those are the administration expenses. You've got professional fees, which is 1.4 million rand, and that is for company secretarial, financial management, doing the taxes and the day-to-day running of Kabili. And I'm just trying to see, and then, yeah, we've spoken about the other costs and the director's remuneration. So director's remuneration, once again, I've highlighted this is the full year cost for the directors. It's not cost per director. And we even have directors that are not even paid salaries. So those are the main expenses. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, just to also mention that there will be an opportunity for additional Q&A at the end of the session, Chair.
Yeah,
just in case
let's proceed with
shareholders are worried. Yes.
Let's proceed with the formal part of the meeting, and then we will do other questions at the end of the meeting if there are any. We now go back to resolutions. On resolution number 1.1, it's resolved that Ernest Quinda, who retires by rotation and who is eligible and available for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected as a director of the company. Are there any questions that shareholders may wish to raise in relation to Ernest's reappointment? If there are no questions, can we please proceed with the voting? While the shareholders are busy voting, we will now move to resolution 1.2. It is resolved that William Mohase, who retires by rotation and who is eligible and available for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected as the director of the company. Are there any questions relating to reappointment of William Mohase? If there are not, please proceed with the voting. We now go to resolution 2.1, reappointment of Ernest as audit committee member. Are there any questions relating to the reappointment of Ernest Quinda as a member of the Audit and Risk Committee? If there are no questions, can we now proceed to ordinary resolution 2.2, Ernest?
Thank you, Chair. Ordinary resolution number 2.2, reappointment of Mr. Mosong Washeng as audit committee member. Are there any questions that shareholders may wish to raise with regards to the reappointment of Mosong Washeng? If not, let's proceed to the next resolution. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Ernest. We now move to ordinary resolution number 2.3, the reappointment of Ms. Tumi Dlamini as audit committee member. Are there any questions that shareholders may wish to raise in relation to reappointment of Tumi as a member of the audit committee? If there are no questions, we now proceed to ordinary resolution 3.1, the reappointment of Tumi as a social and ethics committee member. Are there any questions from shareholders in relation to the reappointment of Tumi as a member of the Social and Ethics Committee? If there are no questions, we'll proceed to ordinary resolution 3.2. Ernest?
Ordinary resolution number 3.2, reappointment of Mr. Mosong Washeng as a Social and Ethics Committee member. Are there any questions that shareholders may wish to ask in relation to the reappointment? If no questions, then we can proceed and hand over to you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Ordinary resolution 3.3, reappointment of Ernest as a Social and Ethics Committee member. Are there any questions relating to Ernest? We now proceed to the reappointment of external auditors. Resolved that PricewaterhouseCoopers Incorporated be and is hereby reappointed as auditor of the company to hold office with effect from the conclusion of this meeting until the conclusion of the next AGM of the company, with Chantel Marais Roux as the designated auditor. Are there any questions with regard to the reappointment of PwC?
Chair, there are two new hands that have come up. Maybe we can take the questions at this point. There are three hands at the moment.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Through you, Mr. Chair, we can allow Mrs. Ignatia. Mrs. Ignatia, you are allowed to speak. You may unmute yourself. Mrs. Ignatia, they've dropped their hand.
Okay.
We have a hand from
Kanyisile.
Kanyisile, they've dropped their hand. They're no longer here. We have Yvonne Nombulelo again. Yvonne Nombulelo. Nothing from Yvonne Nombulelo. We have Ignatia, Mrs. Ignatia again. Mrs. Ignatia Hodi.
Let's proceed.
We have Begumuzi. Begumuzi, you are allowed to speak.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so, on my side, I'd like to ask regarding the debt that we currently have. Since we are currently paying 75% of the money to the debt. So I wanted to know, in terms of, since we started as of 2020, this scheme, how much of the debt has been paid now and how much is the remaining amount? Because of currently now we are sharing the 25%, which is coming from ABI. So we just, I'd just like to get a direct figure in terms of the debt. How is it looking? So that is the question on my side.
Thank you very much. William?
Thank you, Chair. And yeah, just to respond to Begumuzi's question, I don't have the exact amount at the top of my head as to what has been paid to date, Chair. However, Beggy, if you can please just go to the financial statements, you will be able to obtain the information on the respective note to see how much has been paid to date. On the note in question on the financial statement is note 6. That's actually why I was highlighting that information, to say, you know, the preference share is sitting at about 4 billion rand as at the end of December. And if you want details as to how much interest has accrued and how much has been paid up to a specific date, which in this instance is December 2025, you will have that information available in the financial statements. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Let's proceed to the special resolutions. William?
Chair, I will be doing the special resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So special resolution number 1, which deals with the remuneration payable to non-executive directors. Resolve that in terms of the Companies Act and clause 8.7 of the MOI, and subject to the terms thereof, the director's remuneration with effect from the date of passing this resolution as set out in the annual report is hereby approved. Are there any questions that shareholders may want to raise? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Anani. Are there any questions?
We only have one hand from Yvonne Nombulelo.
Thank you. Yvonne?
Yvonne? I think they've disabled their microphone, so they've also lowered their hand. We have Mr. Matume Tas.
Mr. Kas?
Good morning, everyone. I didn't hear the previous speaker, what she was saying. I only heard the Companies Act. Can she please reiterate what she was saying, if she doesn't mind? Thank you.
Can I proceed, Chair?
Yes, proceed and the special resolution.
Special resolution number 1, remuneration payable to non-executive directors. It is resolved that in terms of the Companies Act and clause 8.7 of the MOI, and subject to the terms thereof, the director's remuneration with effect from the date of passing this resolution as set out in the annual report be and is hereby approved.
Thank you.
Chair.
Thank you. All the resolutions for that have now been tabled. Voting will reopen for the next 5 minutes until, what's the time now? Until 10 o'clock? Or whenever we get all the results in.
Okay, we have
Why?
one hand at the moment. Maybe whilst the people are voting, we can perhaps take that one hand that is currently up.
Yes, maybe while we're voting and waiting, are there any final questions relating to the business of this meeting? If there any one of the shareholders would like to raise the questions while we're waiting for the vote and before we get the results, I'm comfortable to take those questions now.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have Big Mama Eats and Drink.
Thank you.
Mama Eats and Drink, you may ask.
Good morning, colleagues. A quick one. I just wanted to find out on the financial statements, our other costs that we have the 1 million for. Can we have more clarity what all those other costs are? And my second question is exactly how many shareholders do we have on this scheme? And on the issue of the debt that needs to be serviced on the scheme, shouldn't we be having an estimate to say, okay, this is what we are liable for, and then it will take the scheme so many years to completely pay our debt? Do we have that information, like a forecast and all those things on our books? Thanks.
William, can you the cost? Other
Thank
costs?
you, Chair. Yes, Chair.
There's a note. We'll deal with those. But can you just briefly respond to that?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, the other cost of 1 million, it's, for instance, there's cost relating to, as I mentioned, probably cost of hosting the AGM is one of the biggest contributors there. There's also legal costs that we incur to recover the foreign withholding tax in Belgium. So those are the type of costs that are included in other costs. So yeah, that's to answer Big Mama's question, that the 1 million rand that's shown as other costs, those are examples of the costs that go through there. With regards to the debt, the terms of the debt, once again, are also contained in the financial statements. So please go to note 6. However, for the purposes of answering your question, the preference share and the term is actually, it's a 10-year term. Unfortunately, and the payments are a function, as the chair has also alluded to, are a function of the dividends that have been received from AB InBev. So we only pay, Kabili only pays 75% of what it has received. So the term runs up, I think, until 2031, if I have my dates correct. But the duration is contained in the financial statement. So the terms and conditions of this liability are also contained in note 6 of the financial statements. However, the repayments are a function of the dividends that are received from AB InBev. And this goes back to the 75-25% split. Thank you, Chair. Oh, sorry, Chair. There was also a question around the number of shareholders. I mean, Kabili has issued 40 million shares, 40.5 million shares. And once again, this information is also contained in the annual report. There is a split that, and in the annual report, that actually gives a breakdown as to the number of shareholders. But yeah, it's a function of how many shares each person has. but the total number of issued shares of Kabili is 40.5 million shares. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
We have a hand from Pito Shetrek Mushala.
Pito?
Pito, you can unmute yourself and speak into the meeting.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right. My question is, how much is our dividend? I mean, not the dividends. How much is the share price as of now when we talk? How much is the share price of SAB Zenzele Kabili? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Can we continue taking more hands, or do we need to answer this one first?
Let's answer the question first. I mean, the share price, you can look for it at the on the JSE website. But William?
Yeah, I just quickly checked now, Chair. It's 34 Rand, Chair. And like you said, this
34
information is available on the internet. I quickly clicked and yeah. Thank you, Chair. It's 34 Rand.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We do have 4 more hands. We have Miss Kanyile Dikwebo.
It's fine. You already asked, one of the gentlemen already asked the question. I wanted to know the share price as well.
Thank you.
Right. We have Miss Nokubonga. Miss Nokubonga Gloria, you may speak.
Let's move on to the next person.
Patience Mabuza.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, I'm here as an observer on behalf of my father who is over 60 and literally has little to maybe less knowledge in terms of the markets and trading and all of that. So I just wanted to ask from the perspective of the committee, do you guys perhaps hold some form of workshop on things like this in terms of the shares that have changed and all of that? Because I'm seeing that there's quite a lot of confusion in terms of what's actually happening. A lot of people still have the perspective that whatever that used to happen years ago, I don't know what used to happen with the shares where they got like dividends that would be paid out, but now it's a whole different world. Do we hold workshops for them to actually have like a proper understanding in terms of just instead of just the AGM that's currently being held?
Can we go to the next question? We'll come back to you, Patience.
Okay, we have Mr. Mohosane Semi. Mr. Mohosane Semi.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, sir.
I just need to ask about there's an information that I heard around this week or last week about the employees, what the court has given the Kabili Zenzele 30 days to pay to make the payment. So I don't understand because I'm not on their WhatsApp group, but I just heard them saying that. So please clarify to us for that, for us who don't have on their channel on WhatsApp group. Thank you.
Next question.
Okay, we have Mr. Lisecha Thomas.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I just want to ask the question about the remuneration of our executive. What motivated to be decreased from the previous financial year? Thank you.
Thank you. Can we respond to those questions? I think on the general questions about seminars and education, maybe we can take that offline and a person can be in contact with the contact center on that question, and that it will be clarified. William.
Thank you, Chair. And then I think that covers Patience's question. And then from Semi Mohosane, I'm not sure. I can confirm I'm not aware of any, we're not aware of any communications regarding payments that need to be made within the next 30 days, Chair. I don't know if there's anybody who's been received such a notification, or if Semi can provide any details around that. Regarding staff, but certainly a point to note that I hope that there's no confusion between entities, because this is a Kabili AGM, and anything to do with employees will be sitting in the employee trust, which is the different entity altogether, Chair. So, but from a Kabili point of view, personally, I'm not aware of anything or communication regarding payments that need to be done within the next 30 days. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Payment.
I don't know, Chair. Sorry, Chair. I don't know if there's anybody who want to comment in terms of the special. There was a question around the special resolution. I think Thomas was asking around the remuneration.
The question was, I think Thomas was asking, is that why is there an increase from last year to this year? Is an inflation adjustment.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Can we now proceed to the results of the voting?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, can we close? We have received 99% of the votes of the shareholders that are present at the meeting. So should we close? Through you?
Yes, please.
Okay, voting is closed. And we'll share the results shortly on screen.
Okay. Can you read the results for us?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Special resolution, ordinary resolution number 1.1, 99.85% of the votes, against 0.15. So resolution is carried. Resolution 1.2, 99.84, voted for, against 0.16. Resolution carried. Ordinary resolution 2.1, 99.85, voted for, against 0.15. Resolution carried. Ordinary resolution number 2.2, 99.86, voted for, against 0.14. Resolution is carried. Ordinary resolution 2.3, 99.86, voted for, against 0.14. Resolution carried. Ordinary resolution number 3.1, voted for, 99.85, against 0.15. Resolution carried. Ordinary resolution number 3.2, for 99.84, against 0.16. Resolution is carried. Ordinary resolution number 3.3, for 99.86%, against 0.15. Resolution is carried. Ordinary resolution number 4, 99.88%, voted for, against 0.12. Resolution is carried. Special resolution number 1, 99.85, voted for, against 0.15. Resolution is carried. That's all the resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. That concludes the business of the annual general meeting of Zenzele Kabili Holdings Limited, and I thank you for your attendance. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.